Hello, welcome to PODnas. This is a sports show with a Cajun flair. This is Jarrett Roser. I'm Daniel Hawks. Today we got some love for Keon Coleman. We're gonna give a little recap of Louisianians that were drafted for the NFL, and a little bit about Fleaux' semifinal run at the OT7 in Orlando. How you doing, Jarrett? What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to sounds like a pretty football centric show, but I did want to I have some basketball related venting that I need to do. And so I
Okay.
know
Okay.
as much as you've blown up my phone DMs ears about whatever this Drake Kendrick drama is, I'm just gonna give you 30 seconds to whatever
Okay.
the hell you need to tell me about this that I don't really
Okay.
know
Okay.
outside of the existence of Drake and Kendrick. And then I'm going to take my 30 to talk basketball, and then
Okay.
we'll get right back into the
Do
football.
you have
So
an actual? Is that an
I,
actual?
I do. And so I'll time
Okay.
you. Yeah. So
Okay. Do
take,
this.
take your deep breath and go.
Oh, so these mother hate each other. All right. They like dislike each other greatly. So Kendrick dropped something at one, it was 616 in Toronto, and Drake has these timestamp records. Or 616 in LA. Kendrick has said all this stuff about how Drake's not a good dad, and he literally came out with this song called "Meet the Grams," that literally went at Drake's kid, his mom, and his dad, and basically like all apologize for how shitty Drake is as a person. Don't worry, is that it? Is that all I have? No,
That's literally all you have.
today, and he called it all BS. All right, cool.
Yeah, so I followed very little of that, so I'm very, very much still uninformed on whatever the hell is going on. I know somehow like there's a Karl Malone line in there, and so now there's like
Yeah.
an old Drake and Karl Malone picture that has surfaced, and like I see Metro Boomin going crazy on Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah,
A lot
Metro
going
Boomin
on.
made a diss instrumental last night.
There's a lot going on that people seem to care a lot about based on what my text messages say, not just from you, but even unaware, some of the memes are just amusing to me, pulling
I
in, little
oh
always sunny moments and stuff like that.
I literally was at a wedding this weekend, and Jarrett, I had a Kendrick song, one of the Kendrick disses dropped. I got up from the dinner and went to the restroom and put my headphones in.
I can't possibly care this much as I enjoy both of their music, more so Kendrick, honestly, for a lot of Kendrick's career. But I'm going to take my 30 now, and then we can get
Yeah.
back into the regularly scheduled programming.
Okay.
All right. Pat Bev can go anywhere away from me and the NBA, and particularly the Milwaukee Bucks, who we've said that I have a level of fandom for. The ridiculousness, unprofessionalness, absolute garbageness of. I know the interaction with the reporter post game after Game 6 caught a lot of attention, where it's just goofy, childish BS. But his inability to, and now the alarm's about to go off again, his inability to handle fans saying the word Cancun in Indiana when they were to throw a basketball at not one but two different women fans is the most childish, fragile BS from a professional 35-year-old NBA player. I'm so beyond over the Pat Bev. I'll pay whatever I need to, fine whatever for the curse jar, because
We're at $4 now.
I was livid when he got added to the Bucks roster in February or whenever it was, and he's a disgrace to that team and to professional
I've never seen you this
athletes.
fired up. That was great.
It's stupid, bro. It's so stupid. He's not worth the headaches at this point if he ever was.
1000% agree. 1000% agree. Like, oh, what, you are good at defense? Like, yeah, with all the other stuff that you have and like the ineptitude sometimes that is his offensive game, like it's not worth it.
Yeah,
it's not worth it at all.
Anyway, all of the heat off my chest now. We can jump back
good.
into
you got
football.
Yeah. Your eyes got a fire in them. That was great.
And some positive things like the world at large meeting Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
A little bit. You golf? I ain't no golf. I'm Tiger. Wish he could. I'm not Tiger Woods now. I wish I could, but do all that. Them boys out there shooting 5 under. I ain't doing all that. I'm my TV 5 to hit just to put it in. But I'm gonna go have fun. Like, it's controlled chaos. You frustrated, but you can't get mad. Pull a muscle in your back trying to hit the ball. So it forces me to stay calm and just swing, just have some fun.
Yo, this dude is so Louisiana. I love it.
From his introductory press conference where the clip is talking about, man, I shop like my mom. I buy my jackets in the summertime, try and get them for as cheap as possible. You can bet you don't know. He had a little bit of and he's an Opelousas kid, but he had a little bit of the New Orleans. I bet you I can tell you where you got them shoes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
To his bet you don't know where I got this coat from, and they got all the colors. I get all the color coats.
Yeah, I gotta go get a new color. I gotta
get some red and blue.
I gotta get some red and blue.
I got sent that half a dozen times draft weekend of just people excited to see, I guess, like a tradition unlike any other of the national fan base meeting a Louisiana kid and being reminded of the Louisiana-ness just kind of every year. And Keon is clearly leading the charge in that regard this year. And it's been a lot of fun.
I can't wait to see how Buffalo accepts him. Because I think he's going to do great up there too. I mean, and he's got an opportunity to play with Josh and be an impact player immediately. So,
you and Josh tight like that, like y'all. He calls you Daniel, you call him Josh.
Yeah. Well, it's better than me calling him Mr. Allen, which I did for a while, and he just didn't like. So, I call him Josh. He calls me D Money sometimes. Also, duh man. He does that. I'm cool. I'm a cool guy.
It shows. Yeah, it really. If you put this 20 seconds on your resume of the cool club,
I'm going to. This is actually going to be my resume. This is last 20 minutes. But Jared, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I agree. I think Keon is gonna have an opportunity up there to have a lot of success, and he's a guy that, I mean, a big receiver that, as much as we worry leading up to the draft of what's the 40 time and what are all these testing components, and he didn't run as fast in that regard as some other guys in the receiver class. I think he's pretty football fast, and he showed that with some breakaway plays at Florida State as a receiver and a return man. And so I think he is a guy that is going to be one of those second round steals that is potentially a first round talent that just kind of slipped a couple picks into day two.
I hope so, man. That would be great. Any other Louisiana natives or anything that you can think of or want to highlight that got drafted this weekend? Or last weekend, whenever that was. Whenever the draft happened, at the time period that it did.
I mean, there's always a good crew of Louisiana guys. The LSU guys get a lot of coverage. We talked about those 3 first rounders, and then Mason Smith, another Bayou Parish guy down from Terrebonne. So a Louisiana native and an LSU guy that won the second round to Jacksonville. Jacksonville was just loving some LSU with Brian Thomas, Mason Smith, and Jordan Jefferson, which they also hired Matt House recently.
Oh, really?
So that's an interesting dynamic to add 2 defenders from a team that Matt House caught a lot of flack in terms of how guys were utilized, and now he's the new linebackers coach. But outside of some of those LSU guys, those that we mentioned, Mekhi Wingo in the 6th, some guys that maybe grew up in Louisiana but went to college out of state, like a Keon Coleman, that I think have opportunities. Not to list them all, but a couple that certainly caught my eye. Cedric Van Pran from Warren Easton and went to college at Georgia. He's going up to Buffalo with Keon, I think he's a guy that has been such an exceptional center at every level. Is a huge piece of the Bulldogs' success, including that national championship a year ago, and just one of the most mature, intelligent, almost professional young men I've had a chance to be around from a time that he was 14, 15 years old. He's a kid. I heard a story recently of, I think, a teammate at some point, and I don't remember if it was after high school, before college, in college, whatever. There was another kid that had weed, and we call him Berga. Berga put him out of his car and said, "No, you're not being around me with that. Like, you need to get rid of that or get out and go walk wherever we're going." And so he's a guy that has that level of intelligence and leadership to him, both on and off the field. And I think is going to find his way to be an impact guy in the trenches at the next level. And then later on in that 5th round, a Monroe kid, Josh Newton, who is a Ouachita Parish guy, went to ULM and then transferred to TCU and was a big piece of that, football playoff team a year ago.
Yeah.
Is someone I've been consistently impressed with. And he goes up to Cincinnati, where there's obviously a lot of other Louisiana tied guys. And I'm interested. I think they could use some help in that secondary as well. So hopefully an opportunity for Josh to find his way.
Hey, absolutely. And let's go Louisiana, guys. Louisiana versus all y'all. Oh, I brought in the yeah, I'm up on it today.
Yeah, I'm trying to, and I mean, quick shout outs to other guys. Edge Cooper, 2nd round draftee. I tried to not live in the 2nd round with Keon Coleman and Mason Smith, but Edgerrin Cooper from Covington and A&M going up to the Packers. He's someone that LSU should have done a better job recruiting out of high school, clearly. But we kind of knew at that point. DeCamarion Richardson in the 4th round, a Bossier kid going to the Vegas Raiders. Jaquan Jackson, Hanville kid, former bootlegger 7-on-7 guy, and Tulane speedster goes to Tennessee in the 6th round. And then Nathan Thomas, Chalmette kid, Raging Cajuns, offensive lineman, heading to the Dallas Cowboys in the 7th. And then Mike Pratt from Tulane, the quarterback, going to the Packers in the 7th also.
All right, there we go.
Hey, so speed round.
Speed round. Yeah, we should have put 30 seconds on the clock for that. We absolutely should have. Still cannot get the pointing right, y'all. I can't do it.
Hey. Come on, Jared.
The Fleaux 7-on-7 team just was at OTC 7 Orlando and made a semifinal run. Jared, you were there.
Just OT7. No,
just
C.
OT7. Did I say OTC?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm bad at my job.
But
man, I'm an idiot. Please roast me. I would love that. It's needed at this point. So OTC Prilosec 7. OT7 in Orlando. Fleaux semifinal run. You just saw that moss of a catch. That thing was amazing. What was it like being out there with those guys, and how do you think they performed? And then what's next for them? Like, what's the next OTC Prilosec that's coming up?
So for one, LSU fans should get excited. The amount of LSU talent, whether already committed or being heavily recruited, that was on that team, including the 2 guys in that highlight I think you just showed, Bryce Underwood, the 5-star quarterback from Michigan, who was out there and pretty upfront with the fact that this was a recruiting trip for him to try and get other guys in this LSU class. He throws that to another LSU commit in Teron Francis from New Orleans at Edna Carr, who I think you get a glimpse in that clip why we've called him man-child since he was, I don't even think he was a teenager yet. And I was introduced to him as, we got this kid man-child on the way. Keep an eye out for him. And as soon as I show up to the first practice and start to ask which kid's man-child, I see man-child and realize I don't have to ask anymore. That's the one right there.
How big is he?
Man-child's probably 6'1", 180 or so. He's not huge, but he's a thickly built receiver who can fly. Was just in state track with one of the relay teams this week, and you see what he can do with the ball in the air. Just a playmaker in any capacity, return game, being dynamic back there, with the ball in his hands or going up over dudes and putting them on highlight reels on NFL Network and whatnot at OT7. But those guys, Harlan Berry was insane from St. Martin's Episcopal. And so a lot of excitement for LSU fans, I think, to see the guys that are already committed and to see them working under a former LSU great and Ryan Clark, and also trying to get some more talented young prospects on board to commit. And I think for the first time that this group was put together. Some of them literally meeting each other in the hours leading up to their first games. Good weekend overall. They caught a lot of national attention. They worked through a 1 and 2 pool play and then started to click in bracket play and made a run to the semis with a nice upset of number 1 South Florida Express. And so a lot of fun, a lot of cool things for those guys, and just kind of the level of attention and the time they got to spend together. And now I think next up is just kind of waiting to see about a trip to the OT7 Nationals in June. But it's going to be a group that is pretty select about how many tournaments they go to and which tournaments they go to this year and beyond. But as far as a starting point, I think they put a lot of folks on notice.
Hey, and congrats, guys. Way to go. That catch, I'm going to watch that several times. It's just great. It's lovely. I might put it as a tag at the end, like stick around. We'll show it again. So that is going to be all we have for you today. PODnas out.